Hey guys, tonight on Margaret Health in Later Life, we're slowing things right down and getting cozy as we take a gentle walk through something that matters so much, but often gets tucked away behind to-do lists, old habits, and those I'll start tomorrow thoughts. Tonight, we're talking about the quiet, everyday foods that help protect your heart after 60. So let's imagine this together for a moment. You're in your kitchen, the one with that familiar drawer that sticks just a little when you try to open it. The afternoon sun is peeking through the curtain in that soft, dappled way that makes the countertop glow. You're not rushing. You're not watching the clock. Just a kettle on the boil, a piece of fruit in hand, and the gentle knowledge that the choices you're making, right now, right here, are quietly, lovingly supporting the very core of your health, your heart. There's something deeply comforting about knowing that you don't need fancy supplements or complicated regimes. Sometimes it's as simple as what's already in your fridge, or what could be, with just a little thought. A slice of avocado, a handful of unsalted nuts, even that beetroot you keep meaning to try, but haven't quite worked up the courage for. And let's be honest for a second. Sometimes it feels like the moment you hit 60, every article, every appointment, every tiny ache suddenly leads to the same question. Is this my heart? You might laugh softly, maybe a bit nervously. I know I do. It's that odd little dance between vigilance and overthinking, isn't it? But tonight is not about fear. Tonight is about power, your quiet, steady power, and the gentle tools that help you feel more in tune with your heart's needs, one meal at a time. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. And tell me, where are you watching from tonight? What's the local time where you are? Pop it in the comments below. It always warms me to read your messages from so many different places around the world. A kind of sleepy togetherness, you know? Now, dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. You're sitting in your favorite chair now, or maybe already nestled in bed, blankets pulled up just so. The pace slows. Your breath settles. Outside, the wind hums quietly through the trees, or maybe it's just the distant tick of a quiet clock reminding you that time is yours tonight. Your heart beats beneath your chest, steady and patient. It has done so every moment of your life, through long walks and heartbreaks, sleepless nights and belly laughs. And as you settle in, there's something reassuring in knowing that even now, especially now, you can care for it in ways that feel natural and calming. Tonight, we're not chasing perfection. We're not overhauling pantries or swearing off chocolate forever. No, we're doing something far more lasting. We're remembering the wisdom that lives in simple things, in oats stirred slowly in the morning, in olive oil drizzled with care, in fresh berries nestled gently in a bowl like little edible rubies. Because food isn't just fuel. It's a quiet kind of medicine, one that doesn't come with a scary list of side effects, but with flavors, colors, and textures that connect us to comfort and tradition and even joy. And as your mind softens and your breath deepens, we'll explore together which foods soothe inflammation, which ones help your blood vessels stay supple, and which help reduce the quiet, invisible pressures that can sneak up on a heart past 60. We'll talk about familiar things, like bananas and broccoli, and maybe some things you haven't tried in years, but all of it will be gentle, understandable, and most importantly, doable. So as your shoulders relax and the world outside fades to a hush, just know this: you're doing something wonderful for yourself just by being here, listening, learning, letting your body feel supported by your choices. That's more powerful than you might think. And now, let's float gently into the story of your heart and the foods that have quietly loved it all along. Your heartbeat has been with you through everything. Those quiet mornings before anyone else woke up, the birthdays, the heartaches, the garden walks, the days spent simply watching clouds pass. And now, after 60, it asks for a little more gentleness, a bit more attention, not urgency, just understanding. You've probably noticed small shifts. Maybe your energy dips more quickly than before, or you find yourself catching your breath on stairs that used to be easy. These aren't failings. They're signals. Kind, quiet ones. Your body isn't scolding you. It's inviting you to listen. And food is one of the gentlest ways to respond. But to truly understand what foods protect your heart, it helps to understand what your heart is protecting itself from, what's been slowly building over the years, often without a sound. It isn't always dramatic. Heart disease doesn't usually shout, it whispers. And the whispers start long before you feel anything. Over time, little things like extra salt here or processed fats there contribute to tiny changes in your blood vessels. Your arteries, once flexible like soft garden hoses, can slowly become stiffer, narrower. It's called atherosclerosis. And it's more common after 60, not because of failure, but because life leaves traces. The foods we've loved for years, comforting, salty, buttery favorites, sometimes offer more pleasure than protection. Saturated fats, for example, can gradually raise levels of LDL cholesterol, often called the bad cholesterol, which has a way of sticking to artery walls like an old jam jar lid that won't quite twist off. And here's a fact that quietly matters. According to long-standing heart health research, LDL cholesterol tends to rise naturally with age, even if your diet hasn't changed at all. It's not about guilt or doing something wrong, it's just something that happens. Bodies change, and knowing this helps you meet yourself with kindness, not blame. You may have heard of inflammation too, another quiet force behind heart strain. It's not the kind of inflammation you see when you twist an ankle or bump your elbow. This one is more invisible, more chronic. It bubbles below the surface, especially if you've been managing things like arthritis, diabetes, or even long-standing stress. And certain foods, refined sugars, trans fats, can stir that flame higher, even when everything else in your life seems calm. You might wonder, but I've always eaten the same. Why is it a problem now? And that's such a common question. The answer is both reassuring and empowering. Your metabolism after 60 isn't the same as it was in your 30s. The body simply processes things more slowly. That can mean more time for harmful compounds to linger, more opportunity for sugar to cause small damage inside blood vessels, and more of a challenge for your liver to clear out excess cholesterol. Even salt, something so familiar, can quietly affect blood pressure as we age. The kidneys, like most organs, become a little less efficient over time. This means that the same amount of salt you once had without a second thought might now gently nudge your blood pressure upwards, even if you don't feel a thing. But that's not the whole picture, not even close. Because the causes of heart strain aren't only about food, they're also about movement, or the lack of it. They're about sleep patterns that shift over time, and emotional landscapes that widen. Loneliness, for instance, can elevate certain stress hormones that tighten your blood vessels in subtle ways. Grief, too, whether from the loss of a friend, a pet, or just the sense of life changing, has its own imprint on your cardiovascular rhythm. Even digestion slows down just a little, meaning food stays in the body longer, affecting blood sugar and blood fat levels. It doesn't mean your body is failing. It means it's adapting, and you're allowed to adapt with it. So, if your favorite breakfast has always been buttered toast and jam, or your comfort food a plate of creamy pasta, it's okay to feel hesitant. Change doesn't have to be abrupt. There's no need to throw everything out. Instead, think of it like a gentle remix, a softer version of the songs you already love. And here's something not everyone realizes. After 60, your body becomes more sensitive not just to unhealthy foods, but also to the benefits of healthy ones. That's right. Adding in heart-supporting foods, those rich in fiber, antioxidants, and healthy fats, can have a stronger positive impact now than they might have had in earlier years. Your body is listening more closely, responding more readily. There's a quiet beauty in that. Think back to the times when someone you love made you a warm bowl of soup or sliced an apple just the way you like it. That small act was never just about hunger. It was a form of care, of presence. And that's what your food choices become now. Not a list of rules, but a practice of care. Of course, not all causes are within your control. Genetics play a part. Maybe someone in your family had a heart attack in their 50s or 60s. Maybe you're taking medications that affect your weight or your appetite or even how your heart beats. It's not about blaming yourself or anyone else. It's about meeting reality with gentleness. You might even ask yourself, is it too late to make a difference? That question too comes up often. And here's the truth. It's never too late. Your body, even now, is capable of responding to positive change. Arteries can become more flexible, blood pressure can lower, inflammation can calm, and it starts with what you choose next. Not tomorrow, not next week, but maybe your next grocery list, your next meal, the snack you prepare with a little extra care. And yes, habits are hard to shift, especially ones tied to memory or comfort. That salty soup your grandmother used to make, or the cheese toast you loved in your 20s, they hold more than flavor. They hold emotion. And no one's asking you to let that go. But what if we added new memories, new flavors, right beside them? What if a drizzle of olive oil over roasted vegetables became just as nostalgic? What if your new favorite comfort became a handful of walnuts, gently toasted, scattered over oatmeal? There's no single food that saves a heart, but there are patterns, a rhythm, just like your heartbeat. And understanding what challenges your heart faces now, that's the first step to supporting it. Because knowledge, especially when it's shared slowly, gently, and with compassion, becomes something more than information. It becomes action, the kind that feels good, sustainable, peaceful. You've taken a gentle step inward, acknowledging what might be pressing on your heart from within. And now, as your breathing steadies and your body sinks further into stillness, let's ease into something hopeful, something empowering. Let's talk about food, not as a rule book or a restriction, but as a comfort, as a friend. Because here's the quiet truth. The same kitchen you've always had, the same pantry, the same corner store down the street, all of these can become places of healing, little by little. You start with what's familiar, what you already like. No dramatic overhauls, just subtle shifts, because even the smallest forkful of something nourishing can ripple through your body in the kindest ways. Take oats, for example. A bowl of warm oatmeal in the morning is more than cozy. It's a shield. Oats contain something called beta-glucan, a type of soluble fiber that gently lowers LDL cholesterol. Think of it like a soft broom, quietly sweeping away what your arteries no longer need. And when you top that oatmeal with blueberries or sliced bananas, you're adding antioxidants. Tiny warriors that soothe inflammation and ease stress on the heart. They don't need to shout or sparkle. They just do their job gently, like a soft blanket tucked around you when the room turns cold. There's a comforting rhythm to heart-healthy eating. It isn't a fad or a strict program. It's a series of friendly, repeatable habits. Choosing whole grains instead of white bread, adding greens to your lunch, reaching for water with lemon instead of sugary soda. Your kitchen becomes a little orchestra, and you're the conductor, deciding the tempo, the balance. Nothing rigid, just harmony. Olive oil is another quiet hero. You drizzle it over steamed veggies or stir it into mashed sweet potatoes, and suddenly you're adding monounsaturated fats, those ones that help lower bad cholesterol while leaving the good kind untouched. And olive oil has polyphenols too, natural compounds that protect blood vessels like a soft, invisible balm. Think about salmon now. Grilled or baked gently with herbs and a squeeze of lemon. Rich in omega-3 fatty acids, it helps reduce triglycerides and can slow down the buildup of plaque inside arteries. Even canned salmon works. Or sardines, mackerel, those small fish that don't cost much but give so much. And what about the humble bean? Lentils, chickpeas, black beans. They might not sound exciting, but they're packed with fiber, protein, and minerals. They steady blood sugar, support digestion, and leave you feeling full in the gentlest way. Add them to soup, toss them in a salad, or blend them into a creamy hummus with garlic and lemon. You're not eating to avoid disease. You're eating to feel good, to sleep better, to walk longer, to smile more easily, and sometimes to simply make it through a day with a little more energy and a little less ache. There's something beautiful, too, about color on your plate. Deep greens from spinach, kale, or broccoli, rich purples from eggplant and blueberries, bright reds from tomatoes and strawberries. Each color tells a story. Each one brings its own blend of nutrients, working together to ease pressure on your heart. And if you're wondering whether flavor needs to disappear in this heart-friendly kitchen, let that worry melt, because flavor doesn't come from excess salt. It comes from roasted garlic, from toasted spices, from fresh herbs like basil, rosemary, or dill. A squeeze of lemon, a dash of turmeric, a hint of ginger, each one adds a layer, a memory, a smile. Let's not forget hydration either. Your blood needs fluid to flow easily. When you're even mildly dehydrated, your heart has to work harder to pump it. Water remains the simplest, most elegant solution. Herbal teas count too. And if plain water feels dull, add slices of cucumber, mint, or citrus. Suddenly, a glass becomes a moment of care. Of course, food alone isn't the only helper, but when paired with even light movement, a gentle walk, simple stretches in the living room, it becomes part of a daily rhythm that supports everything: sleep, digestion, mood. You might ask, what if I don't have the energy to cook every day? That's such a valid question. The solution lies in small things: prepping in batches, keeping heart-healthy snacks on hand like unsalted almonds, whole grain crackers, or low-sodium soups. Even frozen vegetables, quick to steam, rich in nutrients, are allies here. It's not about being perfect. It's about being kind to yourself. And if your appetite changes, which it often does with age, lean into lighter meals more often rather than forcing big ones. Yogurt with flax seeds, a smoothie with berries and oats, even a soft-boiled egg with whole grain toast. Small, nourishing bites, gentle on digestion, full of support. One often overlooked tip: dark chocolate, in moderation, can also be heart-friendly. Look for 70% cocoa or more. It's rich in flavonoids that may improve circulation. And let's be honest, it's also a little joy in the day, a pleasure worth keeping. And while we're being honest, let's talk about sodium. It's a sneaky guest, hidden in canned goods, processed meats, and restaurant meals. Try to become a quiet detective, reading labels, choosing low sodium when you can, rinsing canned beans and veggies before using them. It's not about fear, just mindfulness. If you enjoy meat, try choosing leaner cuts. Swap ground beef for ground turkey or plant-based blends now and then. Roast instead of frying. Use spices generously. It's the love you add to the process that makes the change feel like home. And if you're vegetarian or curious about being one a few days a week, embrace it. Studies have shown plant-based diets can reduce the risk of heart disease. Even a couple meatless days each week can make a difference. And here's a little gem not everyone knows. Potassium-rich foods like bananas, sweet potatoes, and avocados help balance sodium levels and support healthy blood pressure. It's not about removing, but rebalancing. Still wondering, what if I slip up? That's human. There's no perfect eater. One salty snack or skipped veggie doesn't erase your progress. What matters is the trend, the general tilt of your choices, the fact that you care, that you're listening. And when in doubt, fall back on this: whole, colorful, minimally processed foods. Things that don't need labels. Foods your grandmother would recognize. Ingredients that feel real beneath your hands. Remember the simple rhythm: fiber clears, healthy fats calm, color heals, water carries, herbs enhance. It's not about giving things up. It's about letting new things in. Things that help you feel lighter after eating, sleep more deeply at night, and walk with more ease in the morning. This isn't a diet, it's a practice, a daily act of tenderness, one that nourishes you quietly and completely. So tomorrow, maybe you'll stir cinnamon into your oats, or keep grapes in the fridge for a sweet snack, or swap out a processed lunch with a grain bowl you build with intention. Each choice is a note in the melody your heart has been waiting to hear. Your plate, your pantry, your power. You're still here, and that in itself is a soft kind of triumph. By now, your breathing has likely deepened. Your body softened into the cushions beneath you. The room feels quieter, still. Your heart perhaps feels just a little more supported, not only by food, but by the kindness you've offered yourself tonight by listening, staying, and simply caring. The kitchen doesn't feel like a battlefield anymore. It feels like a sanctuary. A place where nourishment and comfort aren't at odds, where something as simple as a spoonful of lentils or a slice of avocado becomes more than just sustenance. It becomes a gesture, a message, one that says, I still choose to take care of myself. And really, that's what all of this is about. Not strict regimens or long ingredient lists, but about gentle, intentional rhythms. A cup of warm tea in the morning, a splash of olive oil drizzled without measuring, a handful of nuts kept in a jar on the counter. These aren't grand gestures. They're ordinary, comforting, repeatable. And over time, they become something beautiful. Your habits. And when those habits are stitched together over days, weeks, and months, they start to hum softly in the background, guiding your heart to beat a little more freely, to carry you through your days with quiet reliability. Think about the small things you've already done, maybe even without noticing. Maybe you swapped a processed snack for a piece of fruit, or you drank a tall glass of water first thing this morning. Maybe you looked at your plate and thought, could I add a vegetable? That's momentum. That's care. And it counts. You may recall the simple truth we mentioned earlier. Food is not a punishment. It is a partner, one that wants to see you thrive, laugh more, sleep better, and wake with energy. And you don't have to do it all at once. This isn't a race. It's a quiet walk at your own pace, one step at a time. Maybe you'll even go back to that oatmeal you enjoyed as a child. Or you'll try dark chocolate again, not as a guilty pleasure, but as something purposeful and celebratory, a little square of heart-supporting joy. And if you forget some days, that's okay. Your body is forgiving. Your heart wants to heal. And even the smallest act of self-kindness can tip the scale back toward balance. You've learned that heart health after 60 doesn't mean giving things up. It means leaning into what works, choosing foods that whisper support instead of shout restrictions. And maybe now, the next time you hear the word heart, you won't just think of stress or disease or fear. Maybe you'll think of your own quiet resilience, the way you nourish yourself, the way you pause and choose better, not because you have to, but because you deserve to. So now, let your body rest fully. Your kitchen will still be there in the morning. Your favorite mug, that tin of cinnamon, the sound of a pan warming slowly. These things wait for you, and they're ready when you are. No rush, no pressure, just breath and a slow exhale. You've done enough for tonight. Let your chest rise and fall like gentle waves on a lake. You are safe. You are healing. And you are loved. Sleep well, friend.